Coach, obviously, exciting time of year for you. Your first appearance at the Elite Eight. Talk about just the moment, first of all, before we get into the game, and just the moment and the experience that you've had with the guys so far.
Oh, it's been great so far. It's been just, everything from the hotel, from the banquet last night at Churchill Downs, and listening to Daryl Griffith speak. It's been wonderful. And then the biggest moment for our guys, and for me, was walking down the tunnel into Freedom Hall. That was just spectacular.
In terms of this moment, we've heard a lot of people talk about not getting caught up in it because you still have 3 basketball games to play ideally. Talk about that and preparing your group while they are in the setting that's different than anything they've ever been through, yet preparing them for the task at hand, and that's a basketball game at noon tomorrow.
Yeah, it's that's been a challenge. It really has been a challenge, and I think that the guys have handled it well. We just try to stay with the same routine we've done all year, same type of preparation, same everything, and and try not to let the distractions while we're practicing. You know what I mean? Try to focus on the moment as much as possible, and not focus on what the surroundings are.
Let's talk about Metro State. Obviously, they come in highly decorated, 3rd ranked in the country, 30-2. Our MAC champion. They won their region. What do you know about them? What do we expect out of them? Obviously, a very big team, one of the bigger teams that we've seen all year, obviously.
Yeah, they're definitely bigger than anybody we've faced so far. I just think that their strength is that they're very solid in all areas. They can shoot the 3, they can get to the rim, they have post game, they have mid range, they're very sound defensively. They're a very good basketball team. I don't think necessarily they have one thing that they do so much better than anything else, but they really don't have any real weaknesses either.
When you prepare for a game like this, it's different than a conference foe, it's different than a regional foe. You're familiar because the East region is so tight. In terms of preparing for a team you've never competed against, challenges, excitement, what sort of different things go through your mind when you wake up, you say, all right, we're going to play Metro State in the Elite Eight. What goes through a coach's mind when you get ready to prepare your team for that type of game?
You always wonder, you try to balance giving your team too much, you know what I mean, or not enough, With our guys, we just try to stick, like I said, with our basic routine and what individuals do on the other team and just tendencies they like to do. And then we just try to be us when we play, and that's been pretty good so far.
In terms of a noon tip, we saw this last year with Stonehill when they took on West Liberty, knocked them off.
Yeah.
I've said all along, it's the best game if you win, it's the worst game if you lose. It's a different start time.
Yeah.
In terms of getting ready, in terms of preparing, some coaches say it's awesome. We know what time we're tipping off. If our game goes into 6 overtimes, nothing's going to carry over. We know at noon the ball's going up in the air. Talk about that. Yet at the same token, you kind of got to. It's not a 7 o'clock. It's not a 7:30. Something like that your guys are accustomed to.
Yeah, it's definitely different for us, obviously. But it's funny. I talked to Dave McLaughlin. He had the 12 o'clock game and he loved it. And they won. You know what I mean? So, but he thought it was great. And you know what I mean. And we've been trying to sell that. And you don't really have to sell it to the guys. You know what I mean? And not having to wait to play, I think, is an advantage, especially for us being a first-time team. You know what I mean? Let's get on the floor, let's get the jitters out, and let's play the best basketball we can play.
You bring up the point that they were here a year ago, lost to a very good Montevallo team. In terms of, they've returned a lot of the guys that took the floor last year in Northern Kentucky. Talk about your guys in keeping them focused. As we talked about, the task at hand is winning basketball games. They've got the experience edge. How do you counter that? Anything you've talked about with your group, anything you will talk about with them before they take the floor tomorrow afternoon?
Yeah, we've talked a lot about it. And I do think that's an advantage for them. And one of the coaches mentioned in the press conference how they need to survive the first 4 or 5 minutes. And to be honest with you, I kind of feel the same way. I mean, we've got to not be in a huge hole after the first 4 or 5 minutes. We're going to be nervous. We're going to throw it away a few times. We're going to make mistakes. We just got to not make a lot of them.
Talk about a couple of keys for us as fans that we'll watch tomorrow when you take the floor at noon. Identify X. We do this well. We're still standing, and we're going to move on to the Final Four.
I think with us, it all starts and ends with Ellis and Eric. Those 2 guys got to be good. You know what I mean? And our supporting cast has been real good through the year. And you can't have multiple guys have bad days. If we have one guy, we usually have another guy that'll pick that up. We can't have more than one guy kind of have an off day. We got to be at our best.
finally for you, we've talked about it throughout, this is the long culmination. You've gotten to the number 1 seed. Last year you advanced to the second round of the tournament, got knocked off. Now here you stand, 1 of 8. In terms of your personal career and what you've been through, so many years at that school, so many years coaching, how rewarding, how excited are you just for this moment in terms of sort of a, not a culmination, that's not the right word, but just a sort of a pinnacle, one of those special moments of your career that you'll always remember?
I mean, it's one of those things like, when you're driving these long rides, coming back recruiting and stuff, you let your mind wander and you think about it, and you just it's kind of a dream, it's surreal a little bit, but it's just, I think it's something, you know what I mean, a week from now, 2 weeks from now, a month from now, I'll really appreciate even more. I'm trying to do it like our guys. I'm trying to stay in the moment and make sure we're ready to go.
Sure. Thanks, buddy.
All right.
I appreciate it, my man.